Chapter 2. One of the less commonly known items from the Manual of Royal Housekeeping is that every other Saturday of the month, the Queen's jewels are sent out for a good scrubbing, waxing, and polishing. Traditionally, this job was done by the palace itself, but due to necessary cost-cutting measures, it was now being farmed out to a little shop in North London called Mary's Cafe and Diamond Cleaners. Mary's is one of the few cafes left where you can read the morning paper, eat a breakfast of sausage, eggs, and grilled tomatoes, kippers on Friday, while getting your diamonds cleaned all at the same time. And be you royalty or just an ordinary, everyday person, you can be assured of the same exceptional standard of service, though the fried bread may leave something to be desired. Each alternate Saturday, Mary herself drives up to Buckingham Palace to collect all the jewelry in need of cleaning. She comes alone in the very early hours of the morning, driving a little red Mini, which she parks by the front entrance. Then she toots her horn 3 times, though very quietly so as not to wake the Queen. That is the signal for the butler to bring out the jewels. The jewels are packed in little velvet bags, tied securely with a lavender ribbon, and are carried out on a silver tray. Mary takes these little bags of jewels and puts them in the back of her car next to the sausages she has just picked up from the wholesale butcher. Not out of disrespect, mind you, but simply because the car is so tiny. Then she drives back to North London, where the jewels will be polished in a small room off the kitchen, while the sausages are being grilled for all the patrons who have brought in their own jewels for cleaning and are waiting for their breakfast to be served. Now, also in London, there lived a gang of misfits who were training to be thieves. The head of the gang was Fat Al, who really was fat and smoked cheap cigars besides. The second in command was Little Albert, who was quite short and tried very hard to look like Fat Al, who he much admired, by wearing the same cloth cap Fat Al had once worn, even though it came down over his eyes, and sticking out his tummy. Finally, there was Henry the Nose, who was tall and thin and wore thick glasses over his sleepy eyes and had a great big red schnoz that was very sensitive to the touch. Henry was a little dim, but he could also be quite lovable. Before they had decided to become thieves, the 3 of them had been musicians. Little Albert had played an old beat-up banjo. Fat Al had played a triangle, which made a little dinging sound when he tapped it with a thin glass rod. And Henry the Nose had played a used bicycle horn, which he had found in a rubbish bin. The height of their musical career was several months before, when they had played to a crowd of thousands underneath Piccadilly Circus in one of the tunnels leading to the Bakerloo line. Unfortunately, when they divided the day's takings, collected in Fat Al's cap, they only found 3 American pennies, a strange Japanese coin with a hole in it, and 25 metal rings from the tops of soft drink cans. The idea came to them one morning just before a concert they were to give deep under Leicester Square, when they had stopped for tea at Mary's. 3 milky teas, Fat Al had said, when Mary came over to their table, holding a little notebook and a pencil which she used to take down the orders. "Right you are, love," said Mary. "No sausages or fried bread today?" "No," said Fat Al, who really would have loved some sausages and fried bread, but couldn't afford it. "I'm on a diet," he explained. "Oh, everyone's on a diet these days," said Mary, in a commiserating sort of voice, and then, turning to Little Albert and Henry the Nose, she looked at them inquisitively and said, "How about you, lads?" "We'll have 3 milky teas, too," said Little Albert, who always ordered the same thing as Fat Al. So that'll be 9 milky teas then? Asked Mary. Henry the Nose nodded his head. Mary scribbled down the order, and then, as an afterthought, she said, No diamonds that need cleaning or polishing today? Not today, said Fat Al. Oi, said Henry the Nose. Do we look like we have diamonds that need cleaning? No, said Mary. I used to know right away if a customer wanted their diamonds cleaned or just a quick sausage and egg. But not anymore. Times have changed. Not for us they haven't, said little Albert, looking under the table at his flappy shoes. After Mary had gone to fill their order, Henry the Nose looked at his mates through his thick glasses that made his eyes as big and round as fish bowls. Do you suppose she really cleans diamonds here? He asked. Fat Al gave Henry the Nose a look of disgust. Then he reached over and gave Henry's nose a tweak, which wasn't very nice and made Henry sneeze. But Fat Al just couldn't help himself. What does the sign on the window say? Asked Fat Al. Henry the Nose turned around and looked at the window. How should I know? It's written backwards, isn't it? Try looking at it with your head upside down, suggested little Albert, attending to be helpful. Henry the Nose bent his head toward the floor and looked at the window again, following little Albert's advice. I still can't read it, he complained. Fat Al lit up a cheap cigar, took a puff, and then closed his eyes. The sign says Mary's Cafe and Diamond Cleaners. Now why do you think the sign would say that if she didn't clean diamonds? Henry the Nose was still thinking this one out when Mary brought them their 9 cups of tea. Drink up, loves, she said, and then she went away. Little Albert plunked 3 cubes of sugar in each cup, just like Fat Al had done, stirred each of them twice, just like Fat Al did, and drank them one by one, following Fat Al's every gesture. Meanwhile, Henry the Nose was still pondering the question Fat Al had asked. Finally, he blinked his wide fishbowl eyes and said, I don't know, Fat Al. Why would it say Mary's Cafe and Diamond Cleaners if she didn't clean diamonds? Fat Al made a face and reached across the table and tweaked Henry's nose again, causing him to sneeze 12 sneezes in quick succession. It says that because she does clean diamonds, he replied with some exasperation. Henry's nose lit up from his fit of sneezing, and also because he had an idea. Oi! Maybe we should steal 'em, Fat Al. That wouldn't be right, said Fat Al. We don't know who they belong to. Don't you remember our motto? Little Albert asked Henry the Nose. It's steal from the rich and give to the poor, he reminded him. No, you lumphead, Fat Al sighed. That's Robin Hood's motto. Our motto is steal from the rich and give to ourselves. Oh, yeah, said little Albert, suddenly recalling that they had indeed discussed this point before. And until we find out if these diamonds belong to someone very rich, we can't steal them, said Fat Al. The other 2 nodded their heads in agreement. Fat Al took a puff on his smelly cigar and leaned forward with a mischievous smile on his face. But let's keep our eyes open, lads. Maybe there'll be something for us at that.